This that X Talk, body rock, give us everything you got. X Talk, never stop, tune right in, you know the spot. X Talk, body rock, give us everything you got. X Talk, never stop, tune right in, you know the spot.
Hello, and welcome to X Talk, a show where we sit down with your favorite artists, entertainers, and content creators to talk explicitly about all things extravagant. My name is Markus X, and today I am joined by Logan. How are you doing? Do you go by, should I address you as LoganTheLeo or Logan?
Whatever you want to call me, baby, I'm always going to answer. So let me know what you want. Is it Logan? Is it Leo? I answer to both. So
okay. Well, the phenomenon that is, I'll do it that way. The phenomenon that is LoganTheLeo. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing swell. My titties are still big. This ass is still fat.
They are. I've seen online. They are.
Juicy.
I usually see the post and I go stay for later. And like, you know,
what is the later though?
Around 11 p.m., you know.
Okay, well, I always appreciate that, and thank you very much. Thank you for being here with us today at X Talk. So to start off, I would love to get into, for people who don't know who you are, who the phenomenon is, could you give us a little bio? Who are you? What do you do? All of that good shit.
Sure. Yeah. Well, life story is a lot. So I think biggest thing is people probably don't know that I'm like from a super small town in North Carolina. So I grew up in like tiny small town, super humble beginnings, just with like my mom, my dad, divorced parents, tons and tons of like half siblings, half brothers, things like that. So grew up in a crazy world where, there's not a lot of queer things around. Like the South is very the South, right? Like anyone that lives in the South can understand the feeling. And I always knew that I was gay, queer at a very young age, and I felt very trapped. And I was really drawn to the digital era, like, the MySpace, the Tumblr, all that good stuff. Like that was my shit, right? And so I was obsessed with just visual aesthetics, and I got my first camera when I was 14, and I just started taking pictures in my room and doing edits, and I wanted to look like that guy from that magazine. And then I got better at it and just started posting on social media. And then photographers started reaching out to me, and I just started working with any photographer that I could at the time. I was taking on any gig. And now that I look back at it, I'm like, oh, probably shouldn't have done that shoot, but like, whatever. I didn't care what I did. I was just like, I'm going to become something. I'm going to get out of this small town. I'm going to do whatever it takes. And, now I live in LA, and I work full time doing social media and PR, but then I also do content on the side. I work for brands. I model when I can. I'm working on music. So I've just really tried to expand myself into doing whatever I kind of want to, that I feel like creatively just like inspires me,
Yeah. It's crazy. Did you know Pretty Boy Rock?
Yes.
Did you know he's from North Carolina as well?
I think I did. Yeah.
When we did the episode with him, we got all into North Carolina and all the things happening there, the lack of things happening there.
Oof. I went back and I saw crazy story. Actually, I went this past Christmas to see my family that I haven't seen in like years, and reconnected with my father that I haven't seen in like 7 years, and had like a huge reconnecting, like had the whole gay conversation, like totally like was like unapologetic, and like, it was a good moment for me to have, just because I didn't have that for like 30 years of my life. And it really healed a lot of the inner child in me when I went back there and had that conversation with him. But still, when I went back, I was like, oof, this place has not changed. Like there's nothing going on here. I was there for like a week, and after the second day, I was like, oof, I gotta go.
Yeah. And I think oftentimes too, like people who grow up in small cities, like queer people, especially, like at some point, like either we have to like get out and like find our way, or like we just like rot away, like in this like awful small city,
And I literally, like, I've had very primitive visions in my brain. I'm like, what if I stayed? I was like, I'd probably be like 500 pounds,
Yeah.
some girl I didn't really like just because I wanted to hide myself,
Yeah.
have a whole life,
Sucking dick on the side.
something like
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
the whole thing. And I feel so bad because I just know there's so many people that live there that are living that life still because they don't have like the strength, the courage, the support system, whatever it is to like get out of that small town vibe,
Mm-hmm.
because there is a lot of people like there's still a lot of my family that's like, when are you going to move back? Like, that didn't want me to move out. So I know that pressure of that like small town vibe is like they really want to like keep you there, you know, make you start a family really young. You just like do that 9 to 5 job. And it's just like, dude, most queer people are super creative. Like, they don't want that life. Like,
Yeah.
they need to be expressing themselves. I feel like that's a huge part of like our gift as queer people is that we are very outwardly creative. Like, we have this gift for a reason. And I feel like the more we suppress it, it just eats us up.
100%.
Yeah.
Now, going back, so you had mentioned MySpace. Let's get into the MySpace era. I've been dying to talk about MySpace on this show and it hasn't come up yet.
I'm
let let
definitely your guy.
So did you okay, so for people who are listening in, Logan online, you go by LoganTheLeo on all social media handles, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So LoganTheLeo, going back, teleporting all the way back to MySpace time, I feel like everybody had like a cool name. Is that where you got yours?
It's funny because I've had so many different names like
Hmm.
throughout all social media just eras, but I stuck to this whole like Logan something, right? Like I was Logan Lovestruck when I was like
Yeah.
15.
Yeah.
I was like, Logan, blah, blah, blah. Like I always just had my name and then something else, right? Because it was just very that like emo phase back in the day.
Yes.
I had long hair and it was like swooping down the side and I was taking it like this, like real
Yeah.
serious. And it's kind of crazy because I started to get a little bit of traction on MySpace. Like obviously not like some Jeffree Star or like crazy level where I like blew up, but it was like a little bit enough where like I had people that would follow me to the next platforms like when they came
Mm-hmm.
out. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I fully got like gay bashed on MySpace and someone at my high school took my pictures and my profile and made a fake version of me and like said all this stuff about me, how I was like a, you know, fag and this and that. And like I remember like it really ate me up because I was so young at the time. But it's crazy because now that I'm like more confident and I've like grown out of like the small town vibes and I live in I lived in New York, I lived in DC, and I live in LA now. Like nothing phases me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks because I wish I could like be as confident as I am now back then because I would have like fully just like went off on them and embarrassed them so hard. But
Yeah.
you live and you learn.
I was just talking to somebody earlier too about engagement online, and since you're familiar with social media platforms, you're very well in the know, I'm sure as well, that any kind of interaction that you're getting on your page, like the algorithms don't care if it's positive, they don't care if it's negative, but if you're getting the interactions, it's just helping boost you in the algorithm. So it's just like those people were truly helping to boost you like early on.
And I'm a firm believer. Like some people are like, don't read the comments, don't engage. I'm like, no, I'm gonna be like, thank you for commenting, thank you for
bitch.
like,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Like, 'cause
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like, I've thought about this a lot. Like, people that take time to comment something bad about someone else, it's like, dude, you're just bored. Like, you also probably live 5,000 miles away. You would never say it to my face.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't matter,
And they're like, oftentimes too, I feel like they're projecting their own bullshit onto whoever, and they're like screaming into the abyss, like trying to get your attention,
1,000%.
So, okay. So when then did you go, because you just mentioned that you had moved to a few different places. Actually, one last MySpace question before we get into that. Who was in your top 8 for MySpace? Do you remember?
Okay, so it was probably, it's crazy. I used to have a top 8 and then I was like really into a top 4. And then like I think I only did a top 4 for a while because I was like really nitpicky with like my 3 best friends. But funny enough, I had like 3 girlfriends on MySpace. And like my girlfriend at the time was always my number 1, and then like my current best friend, and then like if my best friend who I haven't seen like a week would be like my 3rd, because like I'm like, bitch, I haven't seen you in a week, like you're going out,
rearranging,
you're losing your spot,
social hierarchy.
Yeah, And then sometimes for shits and giggles, I put Tom as fourth because why not? Remember
Yeah,
like his little face, just
yeah,
for fun.
yeah.
But
Mine was like the Millionaires. You remember them?
yes,
The Millionaires. I was obsessed with
uh,
Jeffree Star, MySpace icon, Nicki Minaj. That was
oh,
like really like her start.
yes.
I was all about the girls all the way back when.
Did you go to Warped Tour back in the day? Was that ever your thing?
No, no, but I actually have a funny story for you.
Tell me.
My gay ass, back when I was probably like 16 or 17, there was another little gay boy in the town that I'm from, and we were both really obsessed with the Millionaires. And
Okay.
so we went to one of their shows, and so we like did the whole show, whatever. And then they had like their tour bus outside. And so after the show, 16, 17 years old, like literally just having the balls to just like go up into their fucking tour bus and like just hang out with them for like a good solid probably 30 minutes. And then eventually like one of their boyfriends was like, "Hey, you guys need to go."
Right.
They're
You're
like,
like,
"Get the fuck out of here."
yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. No, I like. What are those girls doing? Like, do they still make music? Like,
Who knows? Who knows?
R.I.P. to the best era. I feel like
RIP to the best era. Because then Facebook came in and Facebook was not, it didn't hit the same way.
it didn't hit, and then like Instagram was cute, and we loved that. But now it's even. I feel like now it's like it doesn't have an identity right now.
Yeah.
Like, just
Yeah.
things just like they come and go.
And TikTok is, who knows what's happening with TikTok.
Well, you know the whole thing about that, right? Well, and this is my 2 cents. Like when they did that little like fake blackout session or whatever,
Yeah.
and like Trump brought it back, and he was like, "Oh, he's the one who saved TikTok." Um, you can't see any news feeds anymore. You can't see anything about current events. You can't see anything about what's going on in the world. You can't see anything that's going on with like LGBT issues, black issues, like anything. Like it's all being censored right now, and you like can't even see it. You have to like physically search for it. But normally, like when the fires came a few weeks ago, and it was like a really horrible time in LA, it
Yeah.
was all over the feed. You could see everything. And then like a week later, when this ban hit, it's all gone. So
Well,
um,
we know what's up.
we know what's up, but it's like I just feel like I have to say that because it's like I even said this to a few of my friends and like my mom, and I was like, "You guys realize you can't see news stuff anymore?" And they're like, "Oh, I didn't really think about that." I don't think if you're consciously thinking about it and you're just doom scrolling, you
Yeah.
don't remember like all the stuff that we used to see. It was like TikTok was the place that you could get so much information from, and I feel like now all the information is gone.
So, I mean, do you think an agreement was made then to where like, hey, we're gonna let this thing still rock and roll, but also you got to change X, Y, and Z?
Potentially, I mean, obviously, I don't know everything, and I'm a big like conspiracy theorist. Like, I love to just ponder into that stuff because
Yeah,
at
hold on.
the
I have a
end,
button for you. Here we go. Yes. Yes, Illuminati confirmed.
with the triangles, I want to see the reptilians all over the screen. All the
Yeah,
things.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I just feel like we live in a matrix, and I love questioning everything just because I feel like nothing is really real anyway, and life's what you make it. But like, there's definitely a lot of puppeting going on,
Uh-huh.
and don't trust it. Like my yearbook quote was, "Nothing in this world is ever what it seems," and I will die on that hill.
Yeah, yeah. Damn, we've had a couple of good questions come through already that I would be curious to get your take on about some conspiracy theory shit, especially like surrounding like LA. People have asked a couple of
Oh,
the guests
please,
already about like some LA shit.
please, let's go.
Huh. Let's get into it. Shit. Let's go. Let's get into it real quick. Just while we're on the topic. I mean, so one of the questions that had come through previously for one of our past guests had asked something to the effect of, do you believe all of like the weird LA stories? Something like that. But I think when they were asking it, it was with the like Illuminati, like weird Hollywood type shit.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
Mm.
for sure.
Hmm.
100%.
Any short stories to share that won't get you killed?
So blink twice, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
No stories personally. I've talked to a lot of people in the industry that have told me stories.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's like a if you know, you know kind of situation. But I live in Hollywood, right? And I don't live in like the bulk of where Hollywood is. I live like a
Mm.
smidge into like the Hollywood Bowl back where like the hills are. So it's a little bit more in the mountains, but I can walk right into the Hollywood Walk of Fame within 5 minutes.
Mm.
And I consider myself a very spiritual person. Like I feel very sensitive to energies. I feel very like I'm very intuitive. That's just my vibe. That's how I navigate through life, through situations, things like that. There's definitely an energy around Hollywood
Mm-hmm.
that feels very off. I can't explain it. I know that seems very vague, but like I think it's one of those things too is that if you live here, you just kind of like look around sometimes and it's just like it's weird seeing tons of homeless people on the street like just trying to survive and then one block later it's like the Grammys are happening and it's
Yeah.
it just it's such a weird place to live sometimes because I'm like there's all this like worship of celebrities and there's like this golden red carpet being put out for these like top 3% people and then literally the next block over people are like hunched over on drugs dying
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
sad thing is
Like extreme polarities.
yeah.
And what's the famous hotel there that has all the shit that's happened to?
Oh god, the I can't think of it.
Yeah, I know. I can't think of the name either right now. But
Uh,
like the Hollywood Hills too, like by like the Hollywood or like by the Hollywood sign, like I feel like there are a bunch of stories about ghosts and shit happening there too.
huh.
Yeah, I do think that I mean, to be honest, like I feel like America is kind of cursed land in general, but like then you get like pockets around the world, right? You get pockets where it's like something like some shit's happening here, just like there's like a weird energy, like you're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah,
So
yeah.
okay, okay. Well,
I don't
let
know.
me
You
hit
guys
the
come
button
out here.
again.
We'll go
Uh,
ghost hunting. We'll go ghost
oh,
hunting if you come out here.
down.
Seriously.
Honestly, where is the gay ghost hunting show?
We should start it
Yeah,
because
or like the queer ghost hunting. We could get the girls together, the boys, like everybody. Like let's do it.
we've done enough. We've done the go-go shows. We've done like the other blah
Yeah,
blah blah blah.
yeah.
Let's do the cool shit. I'm
Let's
ready.
get into
To find-
paranormal, Bigfoot hunting.
Come on, like
Yeah,
go to Big Bear right now and probably find him. Like
huh,
or them.
huh.
We don't know.
I know a couple of big bears.
I'm dead. That was me on Tuesday. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Okay. So taking us back then, I'm gonna put myself back on track.
Yeah.
So you moved around a few times, it sounded like. When did you leave North Carolina?
Oh, when I was 17. So like right after high school.
Okay.
And it wasn't necessarily by choice, but it was like my mom happened to get a new job and she was like, "Hey, I'm moving to DC. You can like stay here, go to community college, be with your friends, or you can like start over, try something new." I was like, "When are we leaving?" I was
Yeah.
like, "Get me out of here." I
Let's
honestly
go.
didn't know where it was. I was like, "I just need to get out of here." And it ended up being really pivotal for me, especially as like a young queer person, because I didn't get to really be myself in high school because there was like me and one other, you know, gay person in my high school, and I predominantly dated girls mostly because like I just wanted to protect myself.
Hmm.
Um, and it was the first time I went to a gay bar at 18. I found my first group of gay friends that ended up being a really good part of my life for like the next 4 years. I, had a lot of firsts. And I think for me, that was just a really good like shift in my life to like pursuing myself, like exploring who I really was, like being fearless with like my photo shoots and just the direction I was going. And like it just opened up a lot of doors for me, for sure.
Okay. And so then how long did you end up being in DC for?
I was in DC for 6 years and probably about 4 years too long.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
honest with you,
Yeah.
the first 2 years were great. Like I said, like it was new for me. I was having a lot of firsts. The gay scene there, what I think was very great. Those first 2 years, we had a lot of clubs, and then 2016 hit, and then Trump became president, and I
Mm,
remember the gay scene just really like started to sprinkle away. We lost like two or three of our like main clubs and bars there, so it's just like
mm,
it just there was no life left, and I think it got a little weird.
yeah.
Um, and then eventually, I ended up moving to New York after,
Okay.
and then lived there for about 2 years. COVID hit, and then the job I was working at the time transferred me to LA, and I've been here ever since. So
Beautiful.
yeah,
So out of the places that you've lived on, would you say that you love LA the most, or
it's a tough
what is the
question.
vibe?
People ask me this all the time, and I really wish I could take New York and LA and just go like this, and
Yeah.
make this like hybrid situation. But I've come to terms with I like LA for right now and like where I'm at in my life. I'm really glad that I went to New York first because I think if I did LA first, New York would have eaten me up so hard.
Mm,
Because I
mm,
always think if you can survive in New York, you can survive anywhere. And that's just my 2 cents. Like it
yeah.
is not an easy city. The competition is really fierce. There's everyone's trying to do the same thing there. And if you're not going to step up to the plate and do it, someone's right behind you going to take your spot. So um, I miss the hustle, the bustle, the fashion, the rawness of New York.
Mm,
But I do like, I'm like really a nature boy. Like I love going on my hikes. I love being in nature. I love like disconnecting. I love the sun, the weather. So for me and where I'm at right now, especially when it's the same price, you get more bang for your buck in LA. Like I live by myself now. I used to have roommates,
mm.
and I'm like, why would I pay what I'm paying to live in like a studio and struggle when I can like have a balcony and like have an actual room and have my cats? Like it's just a whole thing. So
100%, 100%.
for now it's fine. But I do love New York and I do miss it a lot.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll see what the future holds for you, huh?
No, I need to have the little crystal ball. I need to
Yeah,
ask what
yeah. On,
next.
only time will tell.
Yeah.
Well, this feels like a good time to jump into our first break.
Okay.
So let's do that. For this break, I am going to play my song Until the Dawn from my project Heaven's Gate. We will be right back with you guys.
Get another hit and I'm gonna take you higher. Baby hitting notes, I can count through the fire. Got 'em on their knees, praying like I'm the Messiah. Oh shit, power trip. Think I found a masochist. Slow spit, swallow it. Don't you waste it, not a drip. Oh shit, take a sip. Make you clean it off my lips. Learn it quick that you'll submit. And if you don't, then you're dismissed. I'm fucked up. Are you down to fuck? Do you like it rough? Baby, I can get enough. Can you handle it? Say you wanna be my pig. So you like 'em big. Baby, I'm not coming quick.
Hey, all right, that was my song Until the Dawn. We are here with Logan, aka LoganTheLeo, aka the phenomenon that is, aka what'd you say, Logan? What was it before for MySpace?
Oh, we don't have to get into all that.
You said let's just keep it one.
We can keep it to where it's at now. Yeah.
All right. So I want to talk more about your beginnings with your creativity and kind of, I know you said that you started out you were fascinated with social media, MySpace. So when did it become more of like a full-time job for you?
Yeah. I mean, it took a while. I think, for the most part, I was just living on the internet trying to like see what stuck, right? Like I wasn't necessarily getting paid. Like this is not something that was like paying my bills. Like, I was like really obsessed with the pop star personas of
Mm,
just like at the time, like I was like obsessed with kind of like everyday people, turning into or having these characters of themselves, right? And that's like half the reason of why I am Logan the Leo, because like I am Logan, but like Leo is kind of like this alter ego that I like live through that like filters through like my creativity, like my sexuality, my like rebellious energy, like all of that. And it's also a pun because like I am a Leo, like as a zodiac sign, so it's just this
mm,
kind of like double entendre. But it probably didn't really start kicking off until I moved to New York. That's when you know actual cool photographers were like reaching out to me and like doing shoots, and then I got my first gig working in social media as like a strategist for a beauty company. So like things were starting to really pick off when I moved to New York.
okay. And so then I'm curious, out of everything that you've done so far within your career, with social media, is there anything that stands out as maybe like a favorite project or something? Are there types of projects that you enjoy taking on the most?
It's changed a lot. I feel like back in the day, I used to really be obsessed with just like visual aesthetics and just like getting in front of the camera. And what's really funny is a lot of people would assume that I'm just like potentially just like, super slutty or this or that, or not like, looking for a relationship or not like lovey dovey just because like they see my Instagram. But it's kind of funny because I used it as like this social experiment. Like I was very afraid to like show my body when I was like 18 or 19. Like I was like pushing myself to like basically like get over that fear because I was like super insecure. I was super skinny growing up and like I hated that. And I scroll back sometimes and like I look back in some of the older stuff before like, I tried to be a little bit more curated just for like,
Mm.
brands or trying to make money or whatever. And I was just like, you know what? Those are kind of the good times because I didn't have anything to lose, but I was like really just like forcing myself to get comfortable with myself and my body. And I feel like those are some of my best moments, just like, having like cool friends and photographers around me and just like testing things and wearing like their fashion that they just made that's from their new collection, and it's just like whatever, or like doing underwear modeling. Like that was a good era for me. Like I was like wearing probably every brand at the time, like 5-6 years ago, and getting reposted, and like that was a big part of like my come up, was just like trying to be an underwear model because I was obsessed with Calvin Klein. So I was like, maybe if I just keep doing this, like I'll be able to do that one day. Still haven't called me, but we're working.
Ah,
But and then these days, I think I'm pivoting more into like music, working behind the scenes in PR, but then also potentially starting my own business. I think like I've just entered, I just turned 30, so I'm like entering like a new era where I'm like, okay, I feel like I've done a lot of like the shoots and expressing myself, and now like how can I take that energy and like manifest it into like some newness that's a little bit more like mature.
like take everything that you know and then apply it into whatever the next stage is.
Yeah, pretty
Mm,
much. Yeah.
okay. Well, I definitely want to get into ideas for that next stage here in a moment. But before we do, I'm curious to discuss and explore, I guess, kind of your mind in regards to creating identity and forming identity, like you were saying, because it is a really interesting concept for me. Like people, if you think of like an Elvira,
Yeah.
RuPaul,
Yeah.
Angeline, like LA icon,
Yeah.
these people who have created a new version of themselves and then just really like found success within that. Are these like, this is the idea that you're kind of following that sort of formula?
Yeah, totally. Like I said, I when I was younger, I lived in a small town, so like my inspirations were like pop stars, right? Like living through these like curated people who like had these like crazy lives, right? Whether
Mm-hmm.
they're like fashion or music or they were acting, like whatever it was. So for me, like even right now, like I'm playing a character, right? Like if I wasn't doing this right now, being like what I'm doing right now, I'd be like on my couch in sweatpants, looking like, just chilling. Like
Right.
that's me, like in my garden or like petting my cats or like, that's me. But it's not like that. This isn't me. This is just an outlet for me to kind of express a heightened version of me that I think is like stronger, more confident, and
Mm-hmm.
trying to push a narrative in the world, kind of per se.
Yeah.
Because like normal me that lives like, the little boy from North Carolina is always like shy and like sheltered and like wouldn't take that risk. So like I honestly like created this character through my mind, like who Leo is, and he's just like fearless and confident, and like he's sexy and he's out there and he's rebellious and like he's doing all the things that I couldn't do or I was too afraid to do.
Yeah.
So I think yeah, just obsessed with just the idea, because I think it like the Lady Gaga's, the Madonnas, like I think they they take and filter as a vessel all these other energies that they're trying to push narratives, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you and I can definitely relate. Marcus is the same kind of thing. It's like people will see the image online and think that I'm just like fucking and sucking, just like
right,
whatever comes my way. And it's just like, baby, like you have no idea. Like it's really just
like we're
an
chilling.
outlet online for like
Yeah,
creativity and like just exploring different aspects of myself. But it is really, really interesting though. And going back to kind of what you were saying about the Matrix earlier, kind of stepping more into, for lack of a better word, like godhood, like in as far as like creating identity, right? And like creating something brand new, like creating like a new ego, if you will, right? And then world building within that, like fleshing it out, like what does this look like? And I think that, the deeper you dive into music too, like it's really fun because then like as you're working on like albums and whatnot, like you can like really like flesh out these like bigger ideas, like okay, so like what does this world look like, you know, within for Markus or for Leo or Logan the Leo, like what is this album concept, you know. It's just like really fun to like play around within that.
Yeah,
So I'm excited to see what's coming for you.
thank you.
uh
I
yeah.
I definitely so I had a huge like confidence issue with music because I was doing three different directions. Like one I was like trying to do pop, one I was
Mm,
like trying to do a little bit more like rap dance, and then like now I feel like I'm kind of just trying to do whatever feels natural to me, and that feels like a little bit of all of it, but like a little rock too. Like my dad grew up like with like rock music. I used to love like I said like Warped Tour, like EDM, by like not EDM, alternative music, stuff like
yeah.
that. So I think people used to call me like the gay MGK a lot. Like
Yeah.
I was like, I used to eye roll to it, but then I was like, like I could kind of play off that. But it's just whatever feels natural to me now. I think the problem with me too, and this is like any creative person, I think has this issue is that if I sit on something for too long or if I listen to it too long, I'll hate it.
Yeah.
So I have so much music that I've beaten it so hard and so down in my brain to where I was like, I don't even want to put this out because like I don't even relate to it anymore, or like I just hate it now. And I think that's the biggest problem with me in general is like I'm a huge perfectionist overthinker. I'm like I want to make sure that this point gets across, or like this sounds like this, and then if it doesn't, I'm like I don't even want to put it out.
Yeah, yeah. I was just laughing because I know exactly what you mean. But then it's like
Bad.
yeah. So like, but then it's like you'll go back like months later after not listening or looking at whatever it is it may be, and you're like, "What the fuck? Like this is great."
This is a vibe. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
and then you're like, "Fuck! Like I should have just moved on this like when it was in the
Yeah,
moment."
I
So
know.
I've been trying to get better myself with my own artistry and like creativity to just instead of just sitting on ideas or like sitting on projects that I've worked on, just like put it out and just like keep moving forward.
Well, that, and then don't expect anything to come out of it. I think that's
Yeah,
the thing. I think like, I never started my like social media career as like a musician, right? So I was like, will anyone even give a shit if I make music? Like,
hmm,
there's that like fear in the back of my head where I was like, oh, I'm gonna like put the money, the time to do a music video. I'm gonna pay all the people, and I'm gonna finally put something out, and it's gonna get 10 views or 10, streams, and then no one cares. But it's like at the end of the day, and I'm better about this now. I wasn't, but I've had like a lot of like time to just like be comfortable with myself, be confident from other people and just myself, where it's like it doesn't matter. And you even take like Chaperone for instance, just because she's like the girl right now. She had like a whole career before this where she was nobody. Sabrina
yeah,
Carpenter making music for 10 years. It takes one thing. It's the same thing with like overnight TikTok success. It's like it takes one video, it takes one song, it takes one anything to like pop off. So it's like
hmm,
just post your stuff. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah. Going back and like kind of tying pieces of the conversation together a little bit too. It is interesting that you were saying that maybe some of your, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, so if I'm not understanding this correctly, please correct me. But it is interesting to me as well, the idea that maybe before, like when you first were starting out, like New York, just like trying shit out, like throwing shit at the wall and seeing kind of what sticks, like that was when you were like really like having a lot of fun with it. And then now would you say it's become like more formulaic? Because oftentimes, as we know with artists as well or musicians, like artists when they're first starting out or like first trying to break, they'll throw shit at the wall and see what sticks and like be more experimental. But then once they get that hit, they're like, okay, like the studio or whoever, like if they get signed to like a label, like they're like, okay, like we need to replicate this thing. And so then it becomes like put in a box almost, right?
Yeah. I do feel like that. Honestly, I think even with like, I don't know why I keep bringing her up, like Lady Gaga. She did this interview the other day, and I was listening to it, so it's fresh in my mind. Where she was saying
Mm,
she misses those days where she was like trying to prove herself in the industry, and she was making her own clothes, and it was before her first album came out or before she had her first TV performance, and she was just doing every bar gig. But like she was like, I have the best memories of just being with like her girls or like the people that she knew that was all trying to come up at the same time because it was just so raw and real and passionate. And
yeah,
sometimes I do like I feel like I'm nowhere where I want to be, right? Like I feel like I worked really hard just to get to where I am, and I'm like proud of that. And sometimes I don't take the time to be proud of that,
mm,
but in a way, I'm like sometimes I feel a little complacent because I'm like, what happened to the grit and just the the trying of things that I used to do. And I don't know if it's an LA thing, you just like, it's the aesthetic thing. There's not people around here that are doing that. Because,
Yeah.
there is a distinct difference between like people in New York and people in LA, right? And even the type of content they're making, the fashion they're wearing, the influences that they have, it's very different. So sometimes I do feel like, is it because I live here and everyone's just like, wants to be like, an influencer or this or that, so I don't know, but I definitely, yeah, I do miss like the gritty times where like I was just kind of doing like whatever it took to just like get the shot or get the picture or meet the next person, like I didn't care. I was doing it all.
Yeah, yeah. Well, also like when money gets tied into it, like let's think capitalism, because as you
True.
mentioned as well, like this is like full-time work for you. So it's like if you find a lane or something that's like working for you, like you really kind of have to,
Well,
like you have bills to pay, right?
yeah, and it's funny you say that because I was the brokest I was ever creatively when I was doing my funnest stuff.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I look back and I was like, I wasn't making any money doing the stuff that got me the most likes, and I was having the most fun and working with the coolest photographers at the time. It was like I was making no money. Like
Hmm.
people weren't paying me. I wasn't getting brand deals. I wasn't, I had barely just started working for the beauty company, like as a strategist, making like, the lowest of the low just to like start. So it was like, it is very interesting that you say that because it sucks having to feel like you have to, as a creative person, like water yourself down to make money or to be digestible for brands or corporations or you know anything in business.
Yeah.
Just it sucks.
Have you ever had any artists that you really, really like musicians that you really enjoy, and like you find them before they blow, like before everybody latches onto them, and then they put out like their debut album after they get signed, and you're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah,
It-
all the
yeah,
time.
yeah, 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 yeah. It's like it's a really interesting thing, like what we're discussing right now. It's a fascinating, but I think it's honestly, I think it all boils down to capitalism.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I feel like yes to that. There's a few people I think that are like true artists through and through that like don't care if they have like a flop era or
Mm,
they're like or they had a big enough era that they made enough money to where now they can like just be creative. There's very few artists that I think have hit that. But I was just talking about this the other day with my friend about Dochi. Is like she's such a raw, like she's low key what like we all wanted Azealia Banks to be. Like let's just
yeah,
but like, I'd be interesting to see her career because I think she's also a Leo too, which obviously I'm obsessed with. But
yeah,
I feel like she's one of those that is like kind of female Kendrick vibes, where she's just gonna stick to like herself no matter what, and it's just gonna stick because it's just her as a person. And I feel like
hmm,
if more people would like run with that, even though it's hard, and I know that there's people above you, especially in the music industry, telling you gotta do this, you gotta do that, especially if you're signed. But I feel like she's not gonna change. I feel like she's one
yeah,
of those people. Hopefully,
yeah, yeah. Fingers crossed, huh?
yeah, because
Keep
that
giving us shit that we can enjoy and gag over.
Yeah, because like I don't know, like what. How would you even try to like make her like she can do whatever she wants because she can sing too. That's the beauty about her. Her and Doja Cat, it's like they can sing, they can rap, they can hop on any song. So it's like when you're that talented, you can do it all. It doesn't matter,
Hmm. Hmm.
you know.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely am excited to see like what she's gonna do next, especially after like Grammy win, like everything that she has going on right now. But I also am very excited to see what you have coming up next. So you previously had mentioned that was smooth, right?
Get there.
So you previously mentioned that you are having ideas about starting businesses or a business. Is that something that you'd be in a space to talk about now, or is it something more, let's see, like what comes together in the future? Stay
Yeah,
tuned.
I mean, it's definitely like something that I've been wanting to do for a while. I think I had a bunch of ideas and I didn't like really start them. Like I said, like the confidence thing or the overthinking, like I just didn't do it. Um, and also, I'm realizing now that like anything that I want to do, I'm gonna have to put money into it. And if
Hmm.
it is what it is. Like I'm a huge like saver. Like I like to save money. Like because I just have this like I never didn't have a lot growing up like for myself. So now that I like have a little bit that I worked really hard for, I'm like I need to keep it all because if I spend $20, what if tomorrow like the world ends and I'm gonna have nothing? Like I'm very
Yeah.
that person, and so I'm learning to take more risks financially and for like things that I want. But at one point, like I was like the shorts king of like TikTok because I would always wear these little short shorts and I just it
Mm,
would always go viral. And I missed that train, so I can't do it now. But like I wanted to do a business with that where I was like doing vintage short shorts and like all the hot boys were wearing them. It's like bring back short shorts and maybe I could still do it, but I've seen a bunch of brands pick it up now. But I'm really into, and I don't know if this is because I'm finally lived by myself now. This last year is the first time I've ever lived alone, but I
mm,
really loved articulating my space and just like having my own sanctuary. So I've been really into like interior design, and I haven't really seen, and maybe there is, and I just haven't seen it, but like really cool like home and like queer home art or just like cool things to like make your space like really vibey.
mm,
I've been really into that and just trying to see what that would look like. Fashion's really hard, so that kind of scares me. I've heard horror stories about fashion. Like you think things are like selling and popping off from Instagram or whatever, and you don't realize like there's a lot of money being put into the marketing, and people are probably losing money when they make fashion. So like that scares me. But also really into because I work in the beauty industry. So I was like, there's something with that there, but it's so oversaturated, and I don't want to ever feel like I'm just like hopping on a bandwagon to sell a product. If I'm not really into it, I'm not going to do it.
mm.
So, there's a lot of ideas floating around that I've been really just like meditating on, and I know the right thing will come when it comes, but they're just all thoughts right now. So we'll see.
Well, for people who are listening as well, your TikTok has a lot of content with your cats. So perhaps it's also doing something related to animals.
I have a really soft spot for animals in general. Like this,
Hmm.
like obviously when the wildfires hit, like I was like really upset for people too. Like it was just a really traumatic time, but like my heart sank so hard for all the like wild animals that like
Yeah.
didn't have anywhere to go. I went and volunteered at like a rescue because I got my two cats from rescue, and I was like donating as much as I could. It just like broke my heart. But it's really interesting because these cats, like I never had animals as an adult. I always there's actually Zuko right there, but I never had animals as an adult. I only had them through my mom, like growing up, and when I got these cats as rescues, I was in a really, really, really dark time because I had kind of lost like my core friend group that I had like when I moved to LA,
Hmm.
and I just kind of fell out with a lot of them. Like I was growing in a different way. I became sober. I stopped going out to clubs. Like I was just like really in a time where I was like, look, I'm about to be 30 in like a year. At the time when I was 29, and I was just like, I just don't feel like I'm getting anything out of what I'm doing anymore. Like I
Hmm.
don't feel like I'm getting anything out of like going out and seeing the same people with relationships that like or friendships or acquaintanceships that like they just don't feel authentic or like I'm not getting anything out of it. And I just felt like I was like doing the same thing and expecting a different result and it wasn't happening. So I was like, I just need to like pull it back. And I was like, you know what? If people are my real friends, they're gonna come back. If I'm supposed to go back to a certain scene, it'll happen. And it just never did. So I was like,
Mm.
okay, like I made the right choice. But now I'm all alone, which is my thoughts, and I'm trying to navigate to the next phase of my life. And I got these cats, and long story short, like they were just a really good like healing moment for me, just to have like an energy around me that cuddles me at night. And obviously I'm still single, but they kind of fill that gap. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, as far as marketing goes, if you think about it, with you being
with the
Logan the
cat,
Leo,
yeah.
and yeah, I'm like, it just really kind of seems like it's writing itself.
Now I got to
So
get a lion next. I'll have to get a full blown lion.
maybe there's there, yeah, maybe there's something there. So you said Zuko, and who is the other kitty?
Okay, so I've explained this to people. Have you ever seen Avatar: The Last Airbender? Or do you
Yes,
know what that show is? Like from Nickelodeon, it's like an anime show.
yeah,
It was like my favorite show growing up. It has so many good like just little symbology. What is it? What's the word? Symbols,
symbolism.
symbolism
Has
in it.
good symbolism.
Um, inside that show that I loved growing up, like unlocking your chakras, like your
Yeah.
avatar state, like your ultimate being state. Like I was just obsessed with it. And the main character who is the avatar, his name is Aang, and then his like villain is Zuko, and
Mm,
like they love to fight with each other. And so like I named him after those two characters. So
yeah,
I'm like
cute.
I'm an anime freak. Like I love anime, sci-fi, anything nerdy. Like I'm all about it.
Okay. Well, let's get into it really quick just because I'm curious because I also enjoy anime. Have you seen Perfect Blue?
No, but you know what I'm on right now is the Four Nights of the Apocalypse. Have you seen that?
No.
That's the one I'm on right now, and I'm like obsessed with it. I'm just like eating it up every day.
What's it about?
It's basically about this kid who doesn't know that he's like this a part of this prophecy, and he finds these other three characters along the way that are like they're basically like supposed to take down this evil guy who like is controlling like the world, but
Mm,
it's like full of like it's like there's like demons, there's like this, there's that, so it's like very like much I mean, it's anime, but it's kind of like magical. You know, there's creatures and there's people and stuff. And it,
love.
I love.
I love like a gory ass anime. Like I'm really into like horror in general, and so like love like have you seen like Berserk?
I have seen that. I never finished it, but I have seen it.
So the OG
It's
series,
wild.
amazing. It's
Yeah.
so good. But I would implore you specifically, and I'm gonna text it to you afterwards.
Okay.
Watch when you have a moment. It's like I think the movie is maybe like maybe just over an hour. Maybe it's like an hour and 10 minutes.
Oh,
But
that's easy.
it's called Perfect Blue, and like I feel like you're gonna realize very quickly into it why I'm recommending it to you and why I think that you'll like it so much, because it touches base on some of the things we've discussed as far as like
Yeah.
identity and like all of that. It's really good, like psychological, like
Okay.
horror anime.
I'm into it. Are you into like vampire stuff too?
Love. Like,
Okay.
do you see this?
Yeah. That, I mean, I figured you were, but I was
Yeah.
like, Castlevania. There's a show called.
Obsessed.
Yeah. I watched
Yeah.
that before the one I'm watching now. I just, oh my god, it was so.
Yeah.
So
I also love so you saw the first one, like the first before the what
I
the
did.
new one's Nocturne.
better though. Nocturne I liked better.
But I love like in the OG one, like it got to like the third season, I think, and then there was like with like the Alucard was like with those twins, and I was like, am I turned on right now? I was like, I've never been into like I've never been a hentai girly. I was like, wait, I was like, am I feeling something? Are like the juices bubbling up?
Annoying. Yeah, you were. You were.
Huh. Okay, so you had mentioned previously a shift into music.
Yeah.
So here momentarily we're going to jump into the song Jealousy by Gaddison featuring you. Have you ever released solo music?
No. And that was the
Okay.
thing. Like, I had so many demos and I never put them out. So basically, this is what happened. I was like, okay, I'm sitting on so much music. I don't want to release it. I was like, why don't I just get comfortable doing features just to
Yeah.
like put my foot in, because it's like, it's not a full song. It's not a full commitment. I won't overthink it. I can do a verse, be a part of something cool, and then like get out of it.
Mhm.
And it was such a great experience because he kind of brought me in. Gaddison, he's like a really good friend of mine that I've known for a few years out here in LA. And he was just like, yeah, like do whatever you want. Like it's your verse, it's your vibe. Like you're equally as a part of the song. And I went to his studio with his producer, and like we just kind of like vibed it out together, which was nice. But it was a really good moment for me because I used to just do music with an old friend John, like on my iPhone on GarageBand. Like we were
Yeah.
just very like in the closet with like the sheet over, trying to make sure it sounds good. Like I didn't
Right.
have full equipment, to like
Yeah.
really do it how I wanted to do it. So it was a good testing for me and a good learning experience because I was surprised at certain things I could do, and I was like, oof, I need to work on other things. But it was really good for me to just to like have that experience because I didn't have it before. And now I'm trying to work on a few other features before I actually put out my own music, because I think it's good for me to just like experiment my sound and just like work with people that I like where it's no pressure.
Yeah.
So that it's kind of like build it through features, because no one really knows me as like an artist. So I'm like, I can like build myself and kind of like pop it in now slowly. Like even with you, I'd love to do a song with you, but like just little things like that before I can drop like my big stuff. So
Yeah, I'm gonna be dropping 2 separate projects this year. The first one that's coming out is gonna be like rap, because I feel like the last project I put out, I was like exploring and trying to experiment with some different sounds. But I was like, I want to get back to like a rap bag and just like eat some bitches up real quick. But the project after that, I'm shifting, and it's like I'm really going back to like world building and shit and like branding and all of these things, right? I'm like really leaning into like a really sexual vibe, but like not like come suck my pussy, like lick my ass crack from my butt. You know what I mean? Like not like that. Like it's still, I feel like it's still you'll see, but I'll start sending you some shit and see if
Please.
you fuck with anything, because like I feel like we could make like a really hot song together.
Yes. Please. I'm so down. I'm so.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
it's funny, just on this topic, I heard you on a different episode talk about like the Hollywood rap gay boy scene or something. Did you bring that up?
This topic has come up like 2 or 3 times now on the show.
Okay, are you over talking about it or can we
No, let's get into it. Do you have some more to add?
I just wanted to say my 2 cents. Not that anyone gives a fuck about my opinion, right?
No,
But
we do care, because we're listening to the people who are listening to the episode, so they do care about you.
okay, but okay, so this is my thing. Like, I think there is definitely a space for like the in your face, twerky, crazy
100%.
rap. Like,
Yeah.
like I love it. I'm all about it. Like the inner party boy in me that used to drink, it would be like, yes, like I'm so about it. And I think that we need that, right? Like there's a special need for that kind of music in the world just to make you feel good and like bring people together and have everyone dancing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But compliment sandwich, I feel like it's just like become a little bit of like a carbon copy situation where it's like, why are we all trying to do that?
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
becomes that can't be the only queer experience that we're putting out there in the world, especially as artists or creators. I'm like, why aren't we talking about being broken up with, or our relationships, or our hardships, or like going real with like our lyrics, or like talking, or like, some fucking, just anything else. Like, why
Yeah.
aren't we doing real kind of like artistic experiences? And it's not to say that like we have to have everyone do those kind of things. I think certain people are good for certain things, but I was a little bit like not disappointed, but I'm just kind of like more questioning, like, okay, well, if everyone's trying to do that, then like, do I like who's gonna do the other stuff, right? Because
Yeah.
we still need it, and there's such a hole for it, because it can't be the only thing that our community is like known for or does. Because I feel like we have so many different facets in our community that like I feel like people, especially this administration right now, the people right now, like don't even get to see of us, because I feel like we're so fucking talented and like we need to see those sides.
Yeah. And not even to say that, and I'm not saying that this is what you're saying, but not even to say that there's not talent within creating that type of music, right? But I think that the conversation is, what else can you show us?
Yeah.
Like if you put out a project, and this is now no shots fired at anybody, but it's like if you put out a project and like the whole body of work is just that one thing, like I'm the best, like, let me show you my asshole, like all of these different things. It's like, okay, cool, noted, but also like what else is there? Like who else are you as a person,
So and this
So
goes for everyone, right? Like it's not just
100%.
It goes for like the Cupcakes of the world, the Nicki Minaj, like anyone doing any of that stuff. It's like we want to see you evolve as an artist. We want to see the judges always want to see versatility, right?
Right.
More. And it's like I said, this comes all out of like love, and I never wanted to come on here and like I'm not dogging anyone. I just want to see us do more and try different things, and I want different sides of people to be shown, because I feel like some people are afraid to do that. And I think that's maybe why they go to this certain thing, because it's like the easiest thing that maybe people can like be like yes, or like work, or like twerk to. But it's like there's a big piece that's missing that I just feel like people are almost afraid to open up that side of them and show, which
100%. I think also it's like I was thinking about this myself actually recently, and like my own branding of like what Markus is, because I had a whole different identity before I created Markus, right? And so
I remember that. I think I remember this.
And so obviously all of us have a lot happening inside of us. Like like I hate when people are like, oh, that person's a bitch. And it's like, okay, but they're also a bunch of other things as well. Like maybe they're a bitch in the moment, maybe they're a bitch regularly, but like it's not just that we're one thing, like we're all multifaceted, right? And so I was thinking about this recently and being like, well, it's kind of low-hanging fruit, right? Like you get attention for like showing body, like you get attention for showing skin, but like even going back to what we were talking about earlier in the conversation, it's like, okay, well, again, not using anybody in particular as an example, but the question was surrounding like WeHo go-go boys that are rapping now. And it's like, okay, well, this is what that you're getting attention for in general. So of course it makes sense to switch over and do music where it's like sex, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, it's an interesting conversation, and it's like, you know, obviously these people have more to their personality as well,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
But yeah.
it is too. It's like, I think too, it's like New York and LA are so different too. And I think LA has become like, it is like, it's the go-go boys. It's the circuit parties. It's the WeHo strip, you know, till 2 a.m. It's like, that just is the culture. So it's like, it's not necessarily a dig. It is what it is. I just am
Yeah.
saying I just wish that there was other things popping around so that we could be like multifaceted all around as a community. Cause right now I just feel like I don't see it. Like I said, it's not a dig to that at all. It's like there's such a space for that, and it is still important. I just want to see, especially in LA, I want other people in the community to get their 2 cents that can do the other things, because I think we all need that. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Singing on guitar, we need people rapping about real shit. We need the
Yeah.
people that are, you know, maybe doing like rock. There's everything. You know?
Yeah. But is it selling? I don't
Probably
know. Yeah, but also, I mean, to play devil's advocate with myself, even, you know, some of these some folks out here who are doing the things that we're talking about, like, also aren't, like, their music's not popping. So,
look,
and
like
like,
I get it.
like,
Fucking
you
hard being an artist and a
yeah,
creator. I get it.
yeah.
But,
So okay, so before we jump into the song then,
oh yes.
For your music and discussing musical identity, like as you are putting together these demos that you mentioned, and as you're thinking about the type of music or like what you want to talk about in your music, like what could the audience expect from you by the time you know, get ready to release your first body of work?
Well, what I'm working on right now, and obviously who knows what this will transform into,
Mm-hmm.
but there is a lot right now that I've been wanting to talk about. I don't know if you've had this personally, but I had a fling/thing with this guy a few years ago that I've always wanted to write about, and it still hits the same today because I've had similar situations that like mirror this a little bit.
Yeah.
That was like super into me. I was like, you know, I haven't dated anyone in 8 years. I've been single for 8 years, right? Like I'm very picky when it comes to like claiming someone as like my partner, because I feel like that is such an important thing. And like if you're not like fully into me, or like we're not on the same page, like I'll just be single because that's just who I am. I'm like,
Yeah.
time. But I was really into this guy, played me along, said all the right things, came and saw me. Connection was great, and then I found out he had a girlfriend.
Oh.
The whole time, and I
Oh.
was like I was so, and like, you know, like at first I was like, what the fuck, and then at one point I was like, okay, well, are you not out, and like um, you know, like you want to be with me but you can't. Like I was like questioning it, but then it was like a full like, oh no, like I just wanted to get my rocks off with you, but I'm never gonna leave her kind of situation. And that like rotted me to the core, because I've had certain situations with bi guys where, again, recently, where it's like they're into you until a certain point when it gets a little too serious, and then they
Yeah.
pull.
Yeah.
Like it drives me insane, and I like told myself, I was like, no more bi guys, and that's just me right now. It might change in the future, so don't someone screenshot this and
Yeah.
you never do it again, and you know
Yeah.
you see me 2 weeks later with one. But like I feel like it's happened to me a few times now where it's like they're really into it, but then they get this close to like where it feels a little too serious, and then they can't be with a guy.
Yeah.
Drives
Yeah.
crazy. And so there's a lot of things right now where I just feel like I want to get that energy out. So yeah, that's a big story I'm trying to tell right now.
Okay. Well, I'm excited to hear it. To pick, like, I guess to dive deeper into what you're talking about too. I feel like also I could only imagine, like, I've spent enough time in LA where, you know, just throughout the years, where I feel like I could live in LA, but like what drives me nuts about LA is your stereotypical LA person who moves to LA to like become something, right? And I feel like they fuck up the vibe in
Oh yeah.
general, and like it creates just like, and you know, with so many people being hungry for things, like it creates like that, like, okay, well, what can you do for me, like, okay, who do you know, like what opportunity, you know? So it's like, I imagine you also like the dating pool, or like maybe the people who you're surrounded by as well, it would be more limited to having good genuine options, right?
Yeah. The guy I'm talking to right now doesn't even live in LA, because I've given
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
I've really given up talking to people in LA.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's crazy because not my full group of friends, but I had a few friends that like got here with me in LA, and we were like, we're never gonna be LA, like we're gonna be like, we're never gonna let it change us. And then a few of my friends like fully turned into this cliche LA monster, and I'm like, what is it with the energy here? And you know what? I figured out, and I mean, this is just my like 2 cents on it. There's the people that have lived here forever that are like in the industry or they grew up here, and then there's the people that come in from different places that like
Mm-hmm.
are a little bit creative, but then they come in here, and then Hollywood itself already has like a persona of like, who do you know and who are you? So then people come here and they think that that's how you have to act, or that's how you have
Mm.
then everyone starts acting like that, right? So it's almost, I feel like it's almost a Hollywood thing because that's how the industry is. It's like warping people's brains to think that that's how you have to be successful, or
What's
that's
in the
how you
water?
act.
Yeah.
It's in the
Yeah.
water, and then
Yeah.
it's like
What? Yeah.
it's
What is
honestly
it? What is it in the water? Yeah. No, truly.
like everyone drinks. It's a virus. It spreads everywhere, and then everyone's acting like that.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
so opposite from New York, and that is when I miss New York, because everyone in New York, even though there's competition, it's like everyone's like, okay, I'll help you. Like we're all doing this together, right? Like that's why usually on like Drag Race or other shows that there's like 10 New York girls, because they're all trying to do, they're all trying to get to the top together, or like just for
Yeah.
an example. But yeah, the energy's weird, dude. I don't know.
I feel like also too, a lot of my artistic, and I have a lot of friends who are working on things artistically in LA. So this isn't, targeted towards anybody, but some of
Yeah.
my least favorite artistic interactions, or just like interactions in general, are always with people in LA too. Like I fuck with East Coast energy so much more than I do
Yeah.
like West Coast energy, just because it's like, you know what you're getting. Whereas in LA, somebody will be like, "Ooh, yes, like I would love to do this thing with you," and then it's just like nothing comes up. It's
Oh,
like, bitch, don't lie.
my favorite is, hey baby.
Right. Right.
Like, first of all, I barely know you, but like, hey,
Yeah.
like, you know what I'm saying? Like, kiss,
Yeah.
kiss, very that. Like, it's very that.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that's what's interesting about me too, is I feel like I've had to like, to not seem like too blunt or too like potentially rude, because I'm actually not rude at all. I'm a triple fire sign. I tell how I feel. You know exactly. You'll see it on my face.
Mm-hmm.
If I feel something, like I will say it like I will just say it because that's how it is. But like around here, it's like people will be like, oh,
Yeah.
you're so
Shook.
weird. Oh, and I'm like, no, it is what it is. Or like, why'd you do that? But like
Yeah.
it's into a whole thing where it's like back in the East Coast, it's like, you walk by someone, they bump into you, and they're like, fuck off, bitch, and you just move on
Yeah.
with the day. It is what
Yeah.
it
Great. Right. Exactly.
is. Sorry.
Exactly. I want to bring an East Coast energy to the West Coast, because like high key, I'll be walking down the street here. I live in San Francisco, and like I'll be walking down the street, and I'll be like, "The fuck are you?" Like I don't actually do this, but like inside, I'll be like, "What the fuck are you looking at? Like why are you staring?" You know what I mean? Like mind your own fucking. Yeah, exactly, exactly. I want to start being like fucking confrontational with people, but also you don't know if somebody's holding something, so I'm like, you really can't do that.
That's
Huh.
yeah, we gotta figure that out. And that's what I kind of thought would happen is like I was like, at one point I was like, maybe I can cultivate enough people that we can like shift culture, but like I don't know, it's just so stuck. It's so stuck. It needs something big to happen to really shake it up here. And I don't know if like this whole Hollywood's semi downfall with like the Diddy craziness and all the exposing like
Yeah.
will really affect that, but like something needs to change because it has so much potential to be like cool, dope, be the next like hub for like creativity and passion, but it's so stuck on like shit that doesn't even matter, like money, who you are, how many followers you are. It's like it's so stuck on that wave that it's missing all the cool people actually bringing all the cool things in. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. 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 Well, don't say too much about something big shaking it up, because I'm like, we out here on the West Coast and we don't need the San Andreas fault.
Oh, yeah, I know. Not the earthquake.
Right. We don't need too much shaking happening. Okay. Well, jumping into the second break, do you want to tell us a little bit about the song and then lead us into the break?
Yeah. So this is a song by my friend Gaddison named Jealousy. It was like a real pivotal moment for him where he was like, yeah, he was kind of having a moment where like he had made music before and he was like, it's cool. I love my old music, but it doesn't feel like me. And he was just like, I want to make a song where it's like, I'm that bitch, like, I don't care, like y'all or whatever. And he's like, you're the perfect person to jump on this. So I was like, okay, I'll do a little verse. It came out last year. There's a music video on his YouTube channel that we did together in downtown LA. We shot it at night. And it's my first feature, and it's not going to be my last, I promise. But this is it. This is Gaddison featuring me called Jealousy. Check it out.
All right.
Confidence is cockiness.
It's giving jealousy.
1, 2, 3. You like all my pics, but don't follow me. Bitch, I run this city and I got the key. Try and imitate me, can't do it for free. First you love me, then you hate me. Now you say you wanna date me. How you copy everything that I do when you're still nothing but a flop. Running to the top and I ain't never gonna stop. On that bullshit, it's a block. Time is money, check that clock.
Jealousy. That bitch can't handle me. Can't take my energy.
Jealousy is a disease.
Can't take my energy. It's giving jealousy. That bitch can't handle me. Can't take my energy.
All right, it is definitely giving jealousy. Now this next segment here is called X Marks the Spot. Okay, so this is a segment where listeners of the show will write in. They'll ask us questions. They'll ask for advice. Sometimes they tell us a story. So for those of you who are listening, if you would like to call and leave a voicemail or send a message, the number for that is 415-448-6630. So go ahead and leave us a voicemail or send a message, and you will be featured on a future episode. Are you ready to get into it?
Let's get into it. I'm ready to have my Dr. Phil moment.
Okay. All right. Somebody asks, are aliens real?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever experienced like an alien or like a UFO or something?
Okay. So two things I want to say really fast. Obviously, we don't know, right? But there's so much going on right now that is like kind of coming out and coming to light. But I've always been fascinated with aliens. My grandma, she lives in the middle of the country in North Carolina still. She like lives deep in the woods. She has sent me pictures and told me stories of things she has seen above her house, literal floating saucers type things. And this was like 10 years ago before it became like, oh, we've been like, you know, like how now people are seeing like everything in the sky and they're like,
Yeah.
drones, blah, blah. This was before drones, right? So that already made me be like, okay, yes. But when I was 15 and I was still living in North Carolina, I viscerally remember falling asleep, and then I woke up at like maybe 3 a.m., which, you know, they say the 3 a.m. era is like the thin, what is it? The veil is thin between the world and whatever.
Yes.
And I fully believe that because I feel like every time I wake up in the middle of the night, it's around that time. And like, I don't see ghosts. Thank God I don't have that gift. I don't want that gift because I'd probably shit my pants. But I definitely feel like I feel things around me. And there's been times where I woke up at that time and I've like been like, what's in my room? You know, like I can feel it.
Yeah.
But back to that night when I was young, I like woke up and I remember there was like a light kind of like coming out of like the corner of my eye where like my window was. And then it was like I fell asleep, but then I would wake up really again and I was like in a different position on the bed. Then I'd fall asleep, wake up and I was in a different position, fall asleep, wake up and I was in a different position. And it was like, I know I wasn't dreaming because I was in my room, but I kept like going in and out of consciousness and I kept like shifting and like my perception was in different spots in my room and it was really weird. And to this day, I cannot explain it, but like that's my only 2 cents like of what it was. And I know it wasn't sleep paralysis because I've had that plenty of times and you're just in one position and you're stuck. But I was literally in different places in my room. It was like really strange. That's the only thing I've ever had that I've ever felt be paranormal. But I'm all about the alien train.
Okay.
What about you?
Yeah, no, I definitely believe that aliens are real. I had an experience one time. I had an experience one time. I mean, plenty of times, baby. Yes. But I had an experience one time where I feel like this is complex. So let me deep dive really quick. So I don't believe that aliens are necessary. Like, I think that, so for one, I think that our understanding of what 3-dimensional reality is, I think it's very limited. And I don't think that we're understanding reality as we think we know. Like, I don't think that what we think of reality is actually what it is. Okay, so that's my first starting point.
Yeah.
I had 2 separate times in sleep state that I had interactions with some aliens. The first one, I was like, my consciousness like popped back. I'm in an awake state, right?
Yeah.
And I like looked over. I was in a room. I looked over, and there was a typical like gray type alien like standing next to me, and I was looking at it in its eyes, and like when you look at somebody in their eyes and you can see the life,
Yeah.
it was that. And I was like, I remember, I don't know if I thought it or if I said it out loud, but I was like, your eyes, because they were so beautiful and like deep and like rich and like filled with life, and they were so big. And in an instant, my understanding of this back, and it's going to sound funny when I say it, but I think maybe you'll understand kind of what I'm getting at, is that I think that the alien thought that I was scared of its eyes, and it realized that I had come to like being in a state of presence or like conscious awareness, right?
Yeah.
And so it changed what its eyes looked like in whatever weird dream state that I was in, like having this interaction. And fully this, this could fully have just been a dream, right? But the shit felt real, okay? And like it's still vividly stuck in my memory. And so it changed its eyes to little orange like putt golf balls. And then I went back out. That was it. I was out again. So that was one.
Okay.
The second one was I was and this one I think was a dream, but I think that I was like having some sort of like interaction with like a different energy in it. Where there was something, I was like at a concert or something with like Drake and like a bunch of celebrities, and then I was like backstage and I was walking, and there was I could see past like there were 2 like reptilian people, and I could see them, and I acknowledged them, and they like both stopped and they looked at me because they realized that I was acknowledging them for like their real state. And then that was the end of that dream. So I'm like,
flash the camera and then you forgot everything.
that was what I still remembered. So I'm fully convinced.
That's true.
I'm fully convinced I've interacted with alien energy. I don't think that these are like physical experiences, but I think that like on like some sort of like weird like energetic like consciousness level, like I think that I've had some interactions for sure.
Well, this is my 2 cents too. Is like we don't fully know what the dream world really is either, right? Like I've always been a vivid dreamer since I was a child, and I've had times too where like my dreams feel so real to where I'm like, did I just go to another dimension and have a whole experience, live a whole nother life, or like I lived an alternative reality and then I just came back to where I'm at? Like I feel like we don't know enough about our dreams, so like everything could be fully valid, it could be fully real, and we just don't even know.
Yeah, real shit. And it's so interesting because throughout our conversation we've kind of touched base already. I think that maybe you're tuned in psychically, because there are a couple questions in these questions that I'm going to get to that kind of already, like we've already kind of touched base on them.
Really?
Yeah, you'll see. All right, so the next question says, they said, I've always been so curious about being fisted, but am kind of scared to become someone's meat puppet. What would Jesus do?
Well, Jesus probably wouldn't do it. But my experience with fisting is very minimal. I have done it twice on someone. Have I ever received it? No. Do I want to? No. But all I'm going to say in that realm is that if you do, a lot of coconut oil. That is the key to everything in gay life. Coconut oil. That's my 2 cents. Forget the coconut oil.
Okay. I've also never been fisted before and don't have any interest in being fisted. I definitely could fist, but so with one of my exes, I tried. He was like interested in the vibe, and so I tried, but my hands are too big. Like we couldn't get past like my knuckles.
Oh, well.
Yeah. So womp womp. But who knows what the future has in store?
Hey, we don't kink shame though. So if y'all want to do it, do it.
Yeah. Live your best life.
Live your best life.
All right. Somebody says, any skincare tips? And then in parentheses, they put, is cum actually as good for the skin as I've heard it is?
I don't know about that. I have heard very interesting stories about that, but I don't know for sure. But I will say my favorite skincare tips, red light therapy on the skin.
Mm.
Always gonna work. I have a wand, like something like this. Use this every day. Like this situation, great.
Uh-huh.
You can get it in as a mask, to wear it. But I've been doing that for about. Never done Botox, nothing crazy. I just do that and moisturize. But sunscreen. I don't care what color you are, how much melanin you got. Sunscreen. It's gonna really help just keep you in like kind of where you're at forever, just because the sun is harsh.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a good moisturizer and a good vitamin C is always going to help. A vitamin C serum. I like to mix it all up in the morning. I'll take like my moisturizer, my sunscreen, and my vitamin C, mix it all in and put it in. It kind of gives you like a little glow. I actually did it before I came on here because I was trying to make sure I look decent. But those three things, I think, all you need.
Okay. Yeah, and the only thing I could add to that, I would say like stay hydrated, drink
Oh, yeah.
a lot of water. Water is great for your skin. Maybe don't smoke or vape, don't drink like 7 drinks every day. Like these things that are like toxic for your body, like it's really going to show up on your face. So it's like, if you decide that you want to dive into being a meth addict, like it's probably not the best thing for your skincare routine. So yeah, just take care of yourself and just be as healthy as you possibly can.
Yeah, 1000%. Especially like, not to dive too deep into like the soda and all that world, but like if it's not water, and even our water is a little questionable these days, but it's probably poison. Just like straight up, like anything in America that's processed is just probably not great for you. So like I always live by like water, green tea, and then like, a little coffee here and there every now and then, but that's about it.
Yeah. And then the second part of the question is, cum actually as good for the skin as I've heard it is? I have no clue, but if you want somebody to be like shooting all over your face, I feel like you should do that. Or you could even like be a bukkake princess, a bukkake queen.
Because I love to do that.
Or do what?
I said, or if you need someone to shoot all over your face, you can hit me up.
Huh? You heard it here first, y'all. You're gonna be getting watch. You're gonna get some fucking crazy ass DMs.
You know those crazy girlfriends? Have you seen it where they were like, "I kept all my boyfriends cum and I froze it and made an ice cream out of it after a year." Did you see that?
Hate that.
Disgusting.
Hate that. I hate that so much. I hate that so much.
Where's that? What's that mean? Disgusting. I need you.
Yeah, disgusting.
That's how I feel about it.
Yeah. Somebody who I know recently was telling me, I always be telling everybody, all my friends, I be talking about all my friends' tea on this fucking podcast, but I don't ever say names, so it could be anybody.
Right.
But somebody who I know recently was telling me he's like really been into this guy, and like I guess he's been like saving the guy's cum or something because they want to get like they want to get like pendants made or some shit. Like they want to put it in like resin.
I'm telling you.
What kind of witchcraft? What kind of witchcraft is happening here?
That is demonic. That is straight up demonry.
What if like the guy that you were dating right now was like, I want you to send me like a little vial of your blood, and because I want to get like a pendant filled with it.
I'd be like, so I'm single now.
Right. That's that.
Like, no. You know what's funny? I used to be really into that. God, I forgot this one show I watched, but it was it was a queer show about vampires. Was it vampire lovers? Do you know what it's called? Have you seen it?
Was it Noblesse?
Maybe. It was like back in the day. It was like whatever. It was like portrayed as like back in the day, like early 1900 vibes. But like they fell in love together. They were like an interracial relationship. The white dude was like a vampire. He like turned the other guy a vampire. They were like together. I don't know what it was, but
you're talking about Interview with the Vampire?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was thinking anime for some reason.
Brain fart. No, but like for a while I was like, oh, I could get into like, a guy like the vampire thing where it's like, oh, bite my neck and suck my blood vibe. But I actually hate blood, and even to this day, when I give blood just to like check things, get tested, like vitamin levels, whatever, they have to lay me flat because ever since I was a kid, I've fainted because I don't like it and I don't like needles. Yeah. So I just think that it's going to be a no for me.
Okay. No fluids are being turned into any jewelry.
No, you can no, I wouldn't say the hair because then you're gonna make a voodoo doll. So no.
Right. Yeah, it's all of it's giving witchcraft. It is. Which I can be here for, but also it's like, maybe it's a little extreme. All right. Somebody says, here we go. They said, do y'all remember your dreams? So you've already answered that. You said that you've always had very vivid dreams, right? But then the second part of the question is, any good or XXX ones you remember?
Off the top of my head, I'd have to think. Do you want to go first while I think?
Sure. I remember my dreams sometimes, but like the ones that I do remember, I feel like they're always good. Like I have a dream that I remember from when I was a kid where it was like heaven state. I was like really like, I was like in this beautiful meadow and like everything was like serene and perfect. And like the feeling that I felt, it was just like serenity. Like it was just so nice and everything was beautiful. And I had another dream that was extremely vivid one time where I was like on a boat in this like beautiful, like it would be like somewhere like Thailand, right? Like just like there were like mountains, like in there, like what are they called when they're like up out of the water? Are those called mountains? Like little rock, like the big rocks out of the water in the ocean.
Boulders, rocks, I don't know.
Whatever they are, there were those, and like the water mist was like rainbowing, and like I was like cruising along in this boat.
So you basically had an anime intro.
Yeah, no, fully. And I hit a wave in the boat and then I flew out of it, but then I dove down into the water and I was going the same speed as when I was in the boat. And then I flew up out of the water and I was just like flying around. It was so fucking cool.
And you came out of the water a mermaid.
Yeah, or like some I don't even know, some angel bitch just flying around. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I can't think of something right off the top of my head, but I've definitely had like wet dreams before, you know, of like people, crushes I've had before, or just like random things, you know?
Yeah.
But I think what's even weird to me, have you ever had dreams where like something really funny happened and you woke up out of the dream laughing? I've had those before. And it's like, I don't have them often, but I had one like a year ago where something happened. I don't know what it was. I can't remember, but I literally woke up just busting out laughing for like a minute. And then like I used to have a dream journal where I keep it next to my bedside table, and I would try to write things down to like remember them, because like I would look back and be like, oh yeah, I remember that. Or sometimes I'd be like, what the fuck was this? But dude, it was so funny, and like it was a good belly laugh. Like it was just like the funniest thing ever. But
that's like a great way to start the day though. I hate when you have like the dreams where you're like rich as fuck, like you're like balling out of control, and then you wake up and you're like pissed off and you're like, what the fuck, I'm back in this reality.
You're like trying to go back to sleep, you're like,
yeah.
You don't go back into it, you go into another dream where you're getting chased by a dragon and then you're pissed.
And I feel like I always will be having sex dreams. Ooh. I also have had a lot of people tell me that they've had sex dreams about me, so I guess the Markus X magic.
I probably will too. So
I'm gonna be in full ass eyeshadow. Fucking I'll be in the same outfit. Okay. Well, speaking of triple X, somebody says, "How big is it?"
For who? For who?
They said, "How big is it?" That's what the question was. Maybe they're asking about your bank account. Maybe they're asking your IQ.
I need more context on the question. To give you a good enough answer. But all I will say is I've never had any complaints, and everyone who has left has always been satisfied.
Okay. And I'll follow that up by saying that oftentimes some people haven't been able to handle it.
And I believe that.
So it's it's big enough. All right. All right. Somebody says, what are your thoughts on social media obsession and its side effects?
Ooh, good question.
This is a good one for you.
Yeah, it is a really good one for me. You know, I think that my biggest thing about social media, especially these days, is the non-harvesting like reality connections. I think that's like the biggest L. I think for a while when I was younger, I was so like into my character and my persona of like who I was online that, you know, it's a growing moment for me, but I probably ruined a few relationships like with friends that were, you know, I was so just trying to be this person. I was so like tunnel vision of just trying to like make it for myself that, you know, I was probably a little bit jaded, and I probably, you know, was just like only focusing on myself, and I didn't take the right time to emotionally be there for certain people that I probably should have. And that was a lesson that I had to learn. But at the end of the day, like social media is what you want to make it. If you want to have it be an outlet for you creatively, or if you want to start a business, if you want to do this, if you want to do that, you should do it, but it shouldn't be your entire world, because you're not living. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, life is so beautiful, and I think there's times where I love it, but there's times where like I need a fucking break, because I'm just like not experiencing anything. I'm starting to feel bad about myself, or I'm comparing myself to others, or I'm digesting things I don't want to digest. And it's just like, always take a break, always realize it's not that serious. And I feel like if you just use it without the expectation for anything, I feel like it's the best thing that you should do. But always have a reality, like always have a life outside of it, because there was a time where I didn't, and it got really dark. And I'm glad now I have, things that stimulate me, friends that stimulate, I have things besides it, that I'm not like sitting there just like living off of it, where like it's feeding my ego, or it's feeding, me feeling better. It's like, it should be a bonus to your life. It shouldn't be your life.
Yeah. I feel so. I always think about like the kids now who grow up, and like they're like attached to, like they're in the system like as soon as they're old enough to like know, like they've had social media their whole life, right? We're like, right, where for us, like it's like we had like a period of time to develop before social media was even a thing how it is now, right? And so it's really, sometimes it makes me feel a little sad for like these kids who, are tied to like their phones, like the iPad babies and shit,
I just saw this yesterday. The new Chuck E. Cheese is like the most depressing thing ever. It looks like a church like event. Like, I don't know. I saw something where it was like a Chuck E. Cheese, like they redid it or something, and it like all the fun was like sucked out of it. Like, they were trying to make it kind of modern with like, I don't know, some like visual dance floor or something. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I was like, everything that we grew up with, I feel like we were the last generation to have like a real cool childhood. And I feel like everything now, like even kids these days that are like, and this is why y'all gotta watch out if you're getting catfish. Always check people's ages, because these like 15-year-olds look like they're 25. Like they look 20. Some of them look 30.
It's crazy. It's really crazy.
Like, what are y'all drinking? But you know what it is? I think it's because they're analyzing themselves so young that they're getting all the information at 5, how to like do your hair, how to work out, how to, the perfect beauty routine, how to put on makeup, contour. Like, do you know how busted I was in high school?
Right. All of us were a fucking mess.
Because our pictures on our phone were pixelated as fuck. We couldn't even see what we looked like on the screen.
Yeah.
Like, and now everyone wants to be a quote unquote influencer. Everyone's using social media, right? So it's like everyone wants to be perfect. So it's like these kids are getting like programmed to be perfect at like 5. It's like, you don't need to be perfect at 5. You don't need to be perfect ever, but like let yourself have those experiences. Like, I'm so glad I at least was able to have somewhat of a fun childhood, like with real memories,
Yeah. I love disappearing from social media, and it's like, it's probably, as far as like building the brand goes, like it's like my biggest downfall. But like I could just get off social media and like not be on it for like 6, 7, 8, 9 months, a year, and like be just fine, and just like living my life, like, and just like not in the world of social media. And like, it's every time I've done it, it's been so nice.
Honestly, like that's something I've really been trying to do. I took my first 1-month break like this year, the beginning of this year, and it was crazy because after like 3 or 4 days, I was like, oh, I've only been gone a week, and then I checked the last time I posted, and it had been 3 weeks. I was, holy shit. I really I had no idea, because at one point I was like posting every day, right? And so when you're in that, it becomes a part of your life. But after like a few days, I like didn't do it. I didn't even realize the whole month flew by, and I was like, holy shit. It didn't affect me at all. I was like, whatever, okay. But it gave me time to like take a step back and like focus on myself, have real like life experiences. Cause like again, like was depressed. I was like, I don't need to live on this phone. And also I work in social media for like a full-time job. So it's like, imagine having to do that for your income and then trying to do it creatively on the side for yourself. Like I was actually going insane. I was I can't get out of it. It's like my life is just a digital like nothingness at this point. I was like, I need to go outside and touch grass.
Yeah, no, truly. For this, I'm not saying that you need to touch grass, but like I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like I just need to get the fuck out of this bubble I was in, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Um, I for this show, I've actually been planning because I'm like my biggest issue as far as like brand building goes is like consistency. And so I've when I finally committed to doing this show, I was like, all right, bitch, you're doing it for one full year and you're committing to that. So out of 1 year, if I'm releasing an episode a week, that's 52 episodes. So right now, what I'm doing is front loading this whole first half of the year.
Okay.
So I'm just filming nonstop. Like I have like 4 episodes filmed for this week, right? And so I'm like just running to get to that 52 now that like I'm so lit up and like so inspired and like in the flow, because by the time like June hits, oh bitch, I'm gonna have my episodes edited and I'm about to disappear back up offline again and just have everything loaded up and like ready to just be releasing. And I'm taking the next half of the year off.
That's even what, like, if you're a real brand or like person, like so that's what some people do. And
Yeah.
it's smart because, you know, it's like, okay, let's take a good chunk of the year, let's kill it, let's work hard, and then like enjoy the fruits of your labor after, just do something else. But no, that's
you
amazing.
have to, yeah, you have to step away from the canvas sometimes. You know, like if you look at it like a painter, it's like if you're painting a beautiful picture and you're creating something, sometimes if you're staring at something for too long, like your vision gets distorted and like you really have to like step away. Or like even like we were saying, like with music, when you're listening to something like over and over and over and over again, but then it's like you step away and you look back at it again and you're like, oh wait, okay, like I hear this different thing that maybe I didn't hear before. Okay, I could change this now. But like you never would have heard that if you didn't take the time to actually step away from the thing, right?
Yeah, 1000%.
Yeah.
And it's always going to be there for you to return, right? Like it's not, unless, you know, it gets banned or whatever, but it's like it's always going to be there. So it's like no one's telling you have to be there every day. So like yourself out if you need to.
Yeah. Okay, somebody says my tea is that I'm in a long-term relationship of 8 years. Things are always stable and he's a great guy. I just find myself being bored with him. Am I an awful person?
No, I don't think you're an awful person. I think in any relationship that's been that long, I think like there's going to be a little bit of like, you know, even like, you know, if friendship, it's like after a while, it's like, you know, everything about yourself. So you're like, what is it to talk about now? You know, I think you're not an alpha person. I think that at a certain point, you just have to maybe spice it up a little bit, or also like do things that you haven't done, like experience sides of each other that you haven't maybe experienced, right? Especially if you're kind of living day to day. I think a lot of us are like trapped in like the matrix of just surviving, right? Like we work, we do this, we come home, we sleep, we do like we're like living in this like world, right? I think there's opportunities, especially in relationships, to like keep it fresh and exciting by like pulling yourselves out of the world that you guys are living in and just doing something like completely different, right? Like even the way you approach things and situations, like just try to switch it up and like do something completely different. It's not your fault that you're bored. You guys have been together forever, you know? It's like, you know?
Yeah. I would say, okay, so in like going back to our conversation about like world building and creating like new identity, maybe whoever you are who wrote this in, maybe you can create like an alter ego. Maybe I don't know if you're, you know, I don't know how you identify. So it's just a completely different person. Like you can come up with a name and be like, okay, like tonight, you know, Diamond is out, or like Miss Cinnamon, she's coming out tonight, and like you could get like some wigs and put your good wigs on and be like, or like just like get different outfits like you wouldn't usually wear and just be like a different person, like bring the excitement to the relationship instead of like expecting it to just be there.
Yeah. I mean, that's always going to do the trick, but also it's like, what part of the relationship is boring, right? Like, I think figure that out, because I think like some people might think that being comfortable is boring per se, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, because I think me personally, it's like, sure that like the routine might be a little boring, but like if you're so comfortable with someone and you're such a good match that like you guys can just like not speak for a while, or you can just be sitting next to each other and not have to be talking, or the level of comfortability, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but you have to figure out what part of it you're bored with, and then you can tackle that after, you know?
Yeah, I agree. And like also if it's a good thing, like just accept that as well, because like I feel like I've heard people that are like, oh, I always go for the bad boy, and it's like, okay, well, so like if you're ending up in the same shit like situation, like do you not feel on some level that you deserve to have good things and like a nice person that's in your corner? You know, not
Right.
saying that this is what this person thinks, but you
Right.
know,
Well, and
just
also like if what's boring is that you aren't doing X, Y, and Z with this person, that try to do that with them, or go do it with a friend, or go do it yourself, or like, I feel
yeah.
like you can still get your fix, but like not necessarily with that person. Like you can take the pieces that you're missing and get them elsewhere, right? Like
Yeah,
I feel like it's hard to box in a partner to be every single thing for you.
everything.
Impossible.
Yeah.
Like you can get people that are pretty damn close, but at the end of the day, it's just like it's not going to happen. So it's not your fault, but it's also like don't put the pressure on your partner to do everything with you.
Yeah, yeah. Pick up a hobby.
Pick up a Hobby Lobby,
Pick up new fashion, if new or a new
get a,
passion. I mean,
get a new haircut.
yeah, go hike, go to the ocean,
Like,
sit in the
yeah,
sand.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Somebody else asks, or they say, I see so many people in our community who seem to be sexually liberated, but I've just never felt that way. Or wait, they said you both seem to be that way as well. How did you gain sexual confidence?
Ooh, I'll let you go first on that.
Well, I mean, part of it is like, I feel like for me, part of it has just been continuing to explore my own sexuality because before, like, I felt like I needed to put myself into a box. Like, okay, like maybe I only like this type of person. And so as I've gotten older, I've given myself more space to just like actually explore whatever it is, like whatever flavor I'm, craving in the moment, if you will. So I don't know. I would say just like start exploring your sexuality more because I feel that confidence comes from a space of being comfortable, right? And comfortable in the sense of being like secure in yourself. And so I would say maybe if you just get to learn yourself more, maybe learn more about what you like. And like also you don't need to be like online showing skin to be like sexually confident. Like I feel like part of this question kind of seems like they're seeing people online and being like, wow, these people have it all. And it's like, honestly, baby, like some of these people online are a mess. Like you see an image online and like if you met them in real life, you'd be like, wow, this person's fucking garbage. And like, they don't look like that. And their energy is all fucked up. So it's like, don't believe everything that you see online as well. So yeah, that would be what I would say is just, maybe start exploring yourself and just like figure out what you like and like, just start doing that.
Yeah. And also for me, it's like there's times where I'm still super insecure, right? Like I might post certain things, but like that doesn't mean I'm like confident every single day of my life and I'm just out here like no one can tell me anything and I feel great. Like no. Like there's times where I feel like shit and or I question my body or I'm like, oh, I need to go to the gym more, or oh, like this guy has more abs than me, or blah 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 blah. Like,
Yeah.
I still am gonna have those moments. Like no one's perfect. And I think you have to tell yourself that everyone's individual experience to finding confidence in themselves is going to be different, right? But for me, a lot of it was like pulling in like an alter ego, right? Like myself, I'm like very calm, I'm chill, I be chilling at home. Like I said, I'm playing through all the things that I want to be through like an alter ego, through like Leo, right? Like I've like created this like entity, and maybe you create a character like you were kind of saying, like
Mm-hmm.
create something for yourself that you can channel the things that you might not be comfortable with doing as yourself through that, like whether it's an art form, whether it's through modeling, whether it's through singing, acting, dancing. Like I think you can definitely just create a new version out of yourself, because at the end of the day, like your thoughts are not your own, you're just a vessel, you are an experience of your surroundings and people around you, and you can be anything that you want to be. And don't let the fear of other people's judgment decide on what you do with yourself.
Yeah, yeah. I would say one last thing to add too is depending on where you live, like if you live in a larger city also, like you could get online and like find like non-sexual, like I'm not saying like go to like a sex party, but like you could find like group meetings that are like surrounding sex and like sexual confidence. Like if you live somewhere where that's something that would be accessible to you, because you could also like go to like some classes, like maybe like about this exact question, like gaining sexual confidence or feeling more comfortable in your own skin. Like there are definitely classes out there for that. So
Oh, and last note, what really helped me, and this is going to sound kind of stupid, but walk around your house naked.
ooh,
like be in your own space, and once you maximize being comfortable in your own space, then I feel like you can start taking steps into like being comfortable in other spaces. Not that you have to be like butt ass naked everywhere, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying I feel like, and I have mirrors all over my apartment just because I love mirrors and like I love bringing in light into my space. But when I would do that, I would catch myself at every angle. Like I would see myself from this way, I would see myself from this way, I would see myself from this way. And then I really started to just like one understand my angles for like modeling and stuff, but I really started to like appreciate and notice every part of my body so that like for me, I know what I'm giving 360, you
Mm.
know? But it also just made me feel better. I'm just like, fuck it, I'm in my space and I'm like doing my thing. And, no one can tell me shit. So once you can master that, you can do it anywhere.
Yeah,
But
yeah. And even, I've talked about it on the show before. One of my practices is also being naked around other people in like a non-sexual way. So
yeah,
like if you maybe don't want to look at yourself in the mirror, like if you're like somebody who's like hypercritical of yourself or something, um, you know, not to negate what you were just saying because it's great advice. And like also if that is you, you could like take baby steps and be like start looking at yourself more, maybe it's not like surrounding yourself with mirrors. But my point is like maybe like change in the locker room at the gym, like, and just like be naked and like get more comfortable in your own skin, like around other people, or like go to like the nude beach, like,
totally.
do these kinds of things where it's just like, it's not, a sexual setting, like it's not like you're like having intercourse or
Right.
like, having a hookup, and just like be naked around other people.
The new beach is such a good recommendation too, because I feel like no one gives a shit.
Yeah, no,
We're
literally
all
don't.
the same thing. It's like, who cares,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Everybody's just naked and you're
Yeah,
just like in your natural state.
yeah.
It's a
I'm like,
beautiful thing.
just put the sunscreen on my back, please. Like
Yeah,
that's like I
yeah,
got you. Like
yeah.
cool.
Don't miss in between the folds.
Yeah, or the cheeks.
That's what I meant. I know you don't have no folds happening over there, sir.
Oh, I got rolls though on the side, so
Uh,
yeah,
uh.
got it.
All right. Somebody says, what's going on with all these planes crashing? Is the world ending?
Okay, this is my 2 cents on that.
All right.
It freaked me out at first for a while, but then I realized that it was something. Even though the fires were a very real situation, it's like once we moved on from the fires, no one's talking about it again, right?
Yeah.
It was the same thing with COVID, this, that, like anything that's happening in the world, it's like they hyper focus on it through the news. But I even have friends who are flight attendants who work as pilots that I was talking to because I was really curious on like what was really going on in the world. And if you think about it, planes and cars, more cars than planes, but things happen every day across the world,
Yeah.
right? And there's a reason why it's being broadcasted right now. There was actually some study some girl posted out where she's saying flights are actually crashing less right now, but it's just that and I don't know if this is true, so don't bookmark me,
Mm.
but they're showing it to us more, right? Like, so there's a reason why they're showing it to us, whether it's fear, whether it's distracting from other things that they don't want us to see,
Mm.
or whether there's something they're trying to maybe prep us for in flight, the future of flights. I heard there's something with AI that's coming that like, I feel like, and I'm not trying to be like the crazy conspiracist, but like I feel like there's always things that they like show us and prep us for that happen
Yeah.
like a year later or whatever. And I think it's either a distraction or it's something that is going to happen that's going to change in the future for flights. I don't know.
Yeah. 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 No, I
I'm
agree.
not saying that it's happening. It's fucked up and it is happening. But I'm just saying like there's always a reason why.
Do you remember, I think it was maybe like a month ago when there was like that weird fog on the East Coast too, and there was like burning people's skin and shit, and then like we just haven't heard anything else about that
Yeah,
too.
like
It's like, what?
yeah, like what the hell was that all about?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then like all the drones, like nobody's talking about that
Nobody's
anymore.
talking about the drones.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like it comes and goes, and that's the thing. It's like I don't know, like
yeah.
not
If my theory about aliens and like what we know to be physical reality is false, my
Yeah.
theory, and things are actually physical as we know them, I'm not surprised that the fucking aliens have never come here. Like Earth is ghetto. Like
yeah.
it's fucking ghetto here. Like especially like us, like as humans, like what? Like let the fucking comet hit. Honestly, let
Yeah.
it hit and blow us up.
I saw someone post that it's not going to hit anymore, and everyone was crying. They're like,
Right. Yeah, devastated.
I guess
uh, okay. And my response, I don't know what's going on with the planes, and if the world ends, the world ends, and then we'll just be dead.
That's
Like
true.
there's nothing to
You
worry
know,
about at
you
that
gotta
point.
live it every day.
Yeah,
When
yeah,
it happens.
yeah,
But you know,
yeah. Okay, so the last question says, what is the biggest misconception about you?
ooh, so it kind of goes back to the personas that I created, right? Like you and I talked about this, but it really started affecting me in my dating world where people would be like, got Instagram? And I'd be like, yeah, but do I have to give it to you? Because
Yeah.
it goes into this thing where it's like, I want you to get to know me, but then they go to see the socials and then they just like get what they think about me, and that they get this whole download that's like one tunnel vision version of me that's also just like a very specific like art tank, like like creative like outlet that I'm using, that truthfully has nothing to do with me sometimes, like as a
Mm-hmm.
person,
Mm-hmm.
outlet. And I struggled with it for a while because I was really starting to realize that like I was liking certain people, and then they would be either one, afraid to date me, or they'd be like, you're too this, you're too that, you have this amount of followers, you post this, so you must be a whore, or like I would get everything in the book, right? So for a while I was just like, well, like, am I like shit? Like I keep getting told it. So like I was almost about to convince myself that I was all these things, even though I know I wasn't.
Mm.
So the biggest conception is that, people are different in real life, right? Like they're either better or worse, to be honest. Or like just different, right? And I just feel like, don't judge people through the personas that they put in real life. Get to know them in real life. I feel like I'm completely different than maybe what people think about me. I have a lot of different interests. I'm not out here just like slinging it around to everyone. I feel like that's another thing. It's like so rude because some people would just like DM me and think that they can just say certain things to me, and just because of things I post. And I'm like, who the fuck are you? Like,
Right.
oh, you shit. Like they're like, oh, send me this, send me that. I'm like, no. And then when I
Yeah.
would say
Yeah.
no, they get so mad and be like, well, fuck you. And then they'd follow me or this. And I'm like, but who, you don't have a right to like treat me or speak to me like that just because I post certain things. Like it doesn't, that has nothing to do with you. Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So that's my
Yeah.
biggest thing on it.
No, yeah, I feel all of that too. And I guess mine is something similar. I mean, and we kind of touched base about it already, and you're touching base on it now also, is that it's like online online is like the reality of it. Like your perception of me online is like the reality.
Right.
Because it's definitely not that. Like people also think that I'm just like the biggest bottom in the world because like I show my ass online, and it's like,
Same.
sure, like I can enjoy bottoming, but like also it's like I couldn't tell you the last time I actually bottomed. Like so like it's really not that,
When I was 15,
Right, yeah, no, seriously. Like so it is interesting, but at the end of the day, it's my mind is going somewhere else right now. So yes to everything I just said, but then also like I do feel like sometimes like people, how do I explain this to you? I might have to edit this, but like
Okay.
I just like between like so explaining why my mind's all over the place right now is because like I do feel like there are like repercussions that also come along with people projecting their perception of you onto you. So like have you ever met like the like OnlyFans boys or people who are like actively like doing like maybe like the go-go boys or like, and like you meet them and like their vision or like their how do I word this, their sense of like I don't want to say like sense of worth, but like they're like they could get like really triggered if you like approach them in like a certain type of way. Like I was like joking with somebody the other day, and they were like they had said like, oh stop, because I like gave them a compliment and I was like, oh usually people don't tell me to stop, and they were like oh you could have said hi, and I'm just like okay bitch, like I was just joking with you. I was like I'm not trying to like come on to you like that, so like do you kind of get what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
sometimes like if you're constantly being bombarded with that kind of like bullshit, like I feel like it can affect your like
Totally.
mental as
Yeah.
well, you
Totally. Yeah.
know
It makes you have a guard up, and it makes you like, it makes you more reactive,
yeah
things, and it, yeah, no, I completely understand that. Even when there is a real problem with people being, I mean, I've gotten it just in my DMs. I can only imagine what they get it in person with people just like touching them and grabbing
yeah
them and not
yeah
giving
yeah
dollars. Fuck off. Like, you know, my body is not like your property, like, especially if you're not going to give a fucking dollar, like,
Yeah.
bro, like, you know. So like I get it, like there's a lot of defensiveness that comes with that because, you know, you want people to be respectful. So like I completely get it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. It just reminded me, I was at Folsom this last, have you ever been up for Folsom or like Dory Alley?
No, is MAL the same thing?
It's like it's basically the same thing, but just real quick, short story. I went
Yeah.
to Folsom, so typically like big group gatherings aren't really my thing, especially if there's like loud music and shit, because I can get, as you mentioned, like being like energetically sensitive. Sometimes I can get like extremely overwhelmed being in like those kind of situations because I'm also the same way. So like if there's too many people around, too much happening, like I'm also like very aware of my surroundings. So like my brain is like like too much to process and take in, right? So anyways, the point is I went to Folsom and I like had like I think my shorts were like see through or something. Like my like I was like walking through and like I like two separate times like this like two different people just like grabbed my dick and I'm just like, bitch, just because it's out like and I'm enjoying the festival, don't touch me. And it's
Yeah,
like it was like it's always like the nasty like
always.
it's never the person you would be like, oh yes, I could get into this kind of moment with.
They have the most balls on the internet and in person. I'm like,
Yeah,
where did you get this from? Like,
yeah,
y'all
yeah,
really
yeah,
want to know.
yeah, yeah.
It's
Anyways, all right, so that was X Marks the Spot. Again, that number is 415-448-6630 if you would like to call and leave us a voicemail or send us a text message. Thank you so much for being here with us today. This was so fun.
it was so fun. I feel like, what's your sign again, by the way?
I'm a Taurus.
You're Taurus. Okay, so we're both fixed signs, so we have like
Uh-huh.
a similar like energy when it comes to. No, it was so much fun. I really appreciate you bringing me on and just like shooting the shit and talking about all the crazy shit going on in the world.
All kinds of shit, huh?
Shit.
Is there anything that you want to promote or could you just tell people your socials so they can find you online?
Yeah, Logan the Leo on Instagram, Logan the Leo with two E's on TikTok because someone took the other one, so that was fun. But yeah, I mean, lots of things going on in my world. I never know when it's gonna happen, but keep in touch with me on social media, and you will be the first one to find out.
Okay. And I am Marcus X. If you want to follow the page, the podcast page online, that's going to be on Instagram at xmark. Wait, oh my god.
Hold on.
I'm at the end of a long day right now. That's gonna be on Instagram at xtalkofficial, and then if you'd like to follow me, that's gonna be Marcus X Official, and that's Markus X Official. Thank you so much for being here with us, and with that, I'm gonna hit this outro music again.